Lords and ladies, my name is Archaic King, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Story Seasons Trio of Towns. I want to start off by saying I'm a moron. I'm a moron because I actually sat down and recorded for 30 minutes. I did pretty good. 30 minutes, wasn't awkward in the least. It was a really good video. Lots of pretty funny commentary. And I forgot to turn my mic on. I did. I forgot to turn my blasted mic on. I had everything plugged in. I had my 3DS connected to my computer. I had my mic plugged in. I had OBS on and working, and everything was just hunky-dory. Everything worked fine. And somehow, completely slipped my mind to check to make sure the audio of my commentary was on. Didn't check it. I checked to make sure that the game's audio was working, and it was, as you can probably no doubt tell in this video. Hopefully the volume of the video is not louder than the redub I'm currently doing. But yeah, I completely forgot, and that almost made me cry because I've actually not had the best day. And I actually did talk about it a bit in the video, so I guess I am free to talk about it now in the redub. I had 6 jobs to do, and I'm a vendor. I'm a vendor of sorts, so I travel to various towns, resetting shelves, restocking shelves, auditing stuff, and basically doing a bunch of random stuff. I essentially call my job, like, I'm a jack of all trades, but I'm a master of none. Makes it sound cooler than it really is. It's like the most menial job ever, which is hilarious because that's not how it was sold to me. When my family first told me about it, they're like, "Oh, you're just gonna put in, you're gonna restock those vending machines." And I'm like, "Dang, my friend's dad does that. That sounds like a swell job." No, my first day on the job, or my first training day, was like, we put new cards out, new prepaid cards, and we did some of the stuff that I had been led to believe was my job. But I'm a year into the job, and no, this is actually one of the more difficult jobs that you could probably have, mostly because it's very menial. Lifting, like, this past Monday, I did a job at a store. I won't say which store, and we basically had to reset, like, the dog and cat food aisle in a massive store. It was described as being a 3 to 4 hour job. It took 8 hours. I couldn't leave because I was with a bunch of other people, and if I left, that would have been pretty bad. So that was 8 hours, which is why some videos have been late this week. Where was I going with this? Right, bad day. So one of the jobs, I was already behind. I took a day off because obviously 8 hours on my feet lifting like 30-pound bags of dog food is not something that you easily come back from. So the day after, I just took a break. I was like, nah. That was the day I released my first video Story Seasons, Trio of Towns, actually. And so because of that day off, though, but it wasn't really, no, yeah, I guess it really was a day off, because I thought I had done some work before I went to get Story Seasons, but no, I had been planning to, but I never did, because, like, once I got done recording, like, the 2 videos of Story Seasons, it was already 1 o'clock, and then the video had to render after I edited it, then it had to upload, and that took forever. So by the time I was done, it was like 4 o'clock. So yeah, I ended up taking that day off, and then I was sick the next day, so I didn't work a lot. I only did some of the more easier tasks. So it's now, God, you guys are getting this video probably on Friday, but today is Thursday right now. So I'm really behind on a lot of jobs that are like 3 to 4 hours long. And today was going to be like a 14-hour work day, because today would have been 14, tomorrow would have been 13 or 14, and then Saturday would hopefully have been like only a few, or no work on Saturday. Got to work at like 10, the very first thing I was supposed to do, which was resetting like a crafts section. Didn't sound hard. Sounded like 3 hours. Took me 6. Took me 6 hours. It was terrible because I had to put a new shelf in, and it was difficult because they had sent it in bent, so I had to get a hammer. It's just terrible. It was just terrible. And so here I am, like 9 o'clock, sitting down to record an episode of Story Seasons because I didn't record one for yesterday. So I was gonna put this one out today, and it started off a little slow because I was like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to be doing something? And I guess, you know, it's been a while since I played the previous Story Season, so I'm just like, am I supposed to be doing something? Is there a story task that I'm supposed to be doing? Somewhere I'm supposed to be going? So as you can see, I'm kind of like wandering around, testing the limits of my jump, because I noted that it was very, very flighty. And I think right here I'm talking about, like, well, maybe not right here, but a little bit ago I was talking about the stamina bar being like very easy to deplete, which is crazy because I don't remember that being the case in Story Seasons. You might feel free to correct me because I don't remember it depleting this fast. Because I remember being able to like do a bit of work before, you know, my stamina got really low. Whereas here I was barely able to even plant like 3 things. Like I was basically, well, I guess technically we are tilling the ground, so in retrospect that probably took a lot more stamina than, say, watering and planting stuff would normally do. So I think once we have all the ground tilled and we don't have to worry about that, we should be fine. But it just felt like it depleted a little faster. Hopefully by the time that we get a little bit further into the game, we actually can extend our stamina or put on, like, create items or whatever. Because in the previous game, you could create necklaces or bracelets or whatever, and you could equip them, and that would, you know, have various types of effects. And of course, I think I remember reading that even food now would maybe sometimes give you certain effects. So looking forward to that because the stamina bar depletes really quickly, and I hate it. It's one of the one of my least favorite aspects of the Harvest Moon series. The stamina bar. I don't remember it being in A Wonderful Life. Correct me if I'm wrong. It has been more than a decade since I last played that game, so I'm perfectly open to being incorrect on that front. But I don't remember there being one. I do remember there being one in the next Harvest Moon game that I played after Wonderful Life, which was Magical Melody, which is a fantastic game. I really enjoyed it. It took me a while to grasp, or not grasp, took me a while to accept the chibi style. Wasn't exactly a fan, as I recall, but I didn't hate it. I remember going back and reading people being really mad that it was less of a, I wouldn't call Wonderful Life a more realistic art style, because it was more of like what you would expect out of Japan, an anime art style. But it, you know, I guess you could say it was a bit more mature than just chibis. And so I remember people not being happy about that. But yeah, there was a stamina bar in that one, and I remember passing out a lot as I got used to it. But it's certainly been my least favorite. I just don't like time. Well, why am I saying time? That's not anything to do with what I said. I just don't like stamina bars. I didn't like it in Skyward Sword, how you had to have a stamina bar that depleted as you ran. Like it's a video game. I'm not expecting realism on any kind of front, so let me just run indefinitely. You know what I mean? But right here, I'm trying to figure out if I forgot something at the end of the previous video, so I ended up cutting the video off here so that I could go back and check. Alright, I had to open up the next video. I did. To you guys, brief cut. To me, I actually had to open up another video. But yeah, stamina bar has never been my my forte. Don't like it. Actually, and this is going to be surprising given the nature of Harvest Moon, but I actually did not like the time. Not the time limit, but I did not like time being a huge factor. I'm not explaining this right. I didn't like how fast time advanced, because the very first game that I really played that had time move at like a realistic pace was, of course, Animal Crossing. Now, there had been games before Animal Crossing that had a passage of time, Ocarina of Time being probably one of the more famous examples, and of course Pokemon Gold and Silver. I don't think it like advanced as you played. I always thought like if you it advanced as you played. I never actually played Gold and Silver, which is why I'm spacing on whether or not it advanced as you played, instead of just like, oh, I started the game at nighttime and it's nighttime. But Ocarina of Time, one of the more famous examples, and that the passage of time in that game was quick. You go out, you stand outside on the field, Hyrule Field for a little bit, and it'll be nighttime in no time flat. In Animal Crossing, of course, because it's synced up with your actual clock, time advances realistically. 1 minute is a minute in game, an hour is an hour in game. And for some people, that is a turn-off, and I get it. You know, if you're like, people are used to playing a game and doing whatever they want. Like if you play Skyrim, you're like, oh man, I have to wait till such and such time to do this. I'll just, I'll go to sleep, or I'll rest and wait for that time, or something like that. And then you have something like Animal Crossing where it's like, hey, that event you really looking forward to? Oh, that's not for another 5 days. You gotta wait actual 5 days. But at the same time, I think some people do like the realistic passage of time in the game, because, if you're like, oh, I'm super stressed out, you can just pop into the game and it's just whatever day it is, and it's fun. But that was sort of my first experiences with like time being a factor in games. And of course, Majora's Mask. Don't get me started on that game. That stressed the crap out of me as a kid. It was one of the reasons why for a very long time I did not like time limits. I did not, because I couldn't beat the game because I just kept running out of time, and I just hated it. But in Animal Crossing, the first time I really noticed it, I think, was in Magical Melody. I didn't notice it as much in A Wonderful Life, because while the time did advance a little bit quicker than it would in real life, like I still think like 1 second was a minute in that game. It counted up, and obviously it advanced 1 minute at a time. So if it was like 1 o'clock and a second passed in the real world, it'd be 1:01, 1:02, 1:03, 1:04, etc. Whereas in A Magical Melody, if I remember correctly, it only counted by tens. So like time would be advancing, but the clock wouldn't keep track of like the individual minutes. It'd be like 1 o'clock, 1:10, 1:20. It wouldn't advance at tens. It would just like only keep track of that. Like time would be advancing, and then ooh, it's 1:20, and then like 20 seconds would go by, and it's like, oh, it's 1:40. Stuff like that. And for some reason, I just hated that. Obviously the time wasn't advancing faster than usual, unless it was. I wouldn't remember if it did. But for some reason, the way that Magical Melody kept track of it really irked me. And even today, I still don't really like how fast the time moves in Story Seasons. I get why it does. Like, you don't want to wait an actual real day in between playing Story of Seasons, am I right? Of course not. That'd be crazy. But, I would kind of wish that the time was a little bit slower, so that every second was not a minute, but maybe like every 2 seconds is a minute, or maybe every 3 seconds, or maybe every 1.5 seconds. Something where like if I wanted to stand out and commentate for a while, I wouldn't have to worry about the entire day passing me by. Right? Well, I've droned on long enough about the passage of time. Although we could get into a very philosophical discussion about time and its passage. One thing that my Story Seasons Let's Play in the past has been very well known for is the fact that eventually, I run out of things to talk about in the game. And then I just start talking about whatever I want to talk about, no matter how thinly related it is to the events at hand. Now, I'm actually going to shut up about random crap, because I am going to read this, because this is... Actually, no, this is teaching us about part-time jobs. Part-time jobs were not in the previous story seasons, to my recollection. Something similar to it was, I think, because I remember that every so often, characters would be like, hey, will you go do this thing for me? And then time would stop, and you'd be like out gathering weeds, or out gathering branches, stuff like that. Seems like in this game, brand new feature, kind of maybe like being somewhat related to that, and it's going to pop up in a second, and I'll read it. Let's see, let me give you a quick rundown on how part-time jobs works. If you want a part-time job, come talk to me between 6 and 23. I'll let you know what part-time jobs are available for that day. There are 3 basic types of part-time jobs: chores, deliveries, and shipping. The chores are the ones that I think we all remember from the previous games. Chores jobs involve harvesting crops, brushing animals, and chopping wood. Stuff that the chopping wood part was the one I remember from the previous story seasons. All done by pressing just the A button. Super easy. Chores, you'll get paid on the spot. Delivery jobs, you'll be required to deliver something. You have to go to the client's shop. You got to talk to them. They'll give you the item to deliver. Then you take it to the recipient. Boom, bada bing. That's it. You're done. And then, of course, you'll get paid the next day. Shipping jobs don't seem any different than, just shipping goods. You'll be tasked with, again, delivering something, and you don't get tasked with delivering it. You have to ship the item. So if they're like, hey, we want 3 milk, you gotta ship 3 milk. That aspect reminds me more of how the shipping worked in the previous story seasons, where you could also get tasks. I think they had a specific name. They may have been tasks. They may have been called quests. And essentially, like, they'd be like, hey, bring us 5 wool or something, and then you'd get like extra money for 5 wool. So yeah, that's part-time jobs. That's awesome. I don't know why I'm just standing here. I think I'm commentating, and I'm commentating about myself commentating. Commonception. I don't know. I really hate redubbing footage, because one reason that I really hate it is it takes a lot of the spirit and the energy out of it. I love doing blind Let's Plays. Some people like Chugga Conroy, more power to the dude, but he can do a game, like he'll play like a game a bunch of times before he does like a Let's Play of it, and then like he has all this information. He's like, oh, this, these are the capture rates here, or, oh, here's a little piece of trivia here, and he can just go on, and the guy's awesome about that. Like, if you ever just want to be like, I want to know more about Pokemon Leaf Green, or like Pokemon Coliseum, watch his Pokemon Coliseum Let's Play, because Chugga Conroy can just be like, he can just give so much information about a game, and it's never boring. It feels like for like 20 or 30 minutes straight, he's just like, here's a ton of factoids, and it never gets boring. I can't do that crap. I don't have the patience to try to set all that up. Also, if you hear a train in the background, there's a train in the background. I live near a train, but not near enough where you think that you would hear the train. But apparently, you can hear the train. But I hate redubbing footage because, again, it loses a lot of the spirit and the energy of the original. I don't like to whenever I redub footage, I never pretend as if I'm still playing the game. Like, I never do that crap. Some people might do that. I don't. Again, I just feel like I can't recapture the feeling. I just can't. I think there's been a few times where I've actually had to redub footage. Not so much on 3... no, there was a story season where I had to do the same. There was a story season. I've made the same mistake before. And it's happened to me when I've done console games. But not because I forgot to set the mic up, but more because the audio screwed up because, hey, the Elgato, not perfect sometimes. So I've had to redub stuff. And one famous example, my Let's Play is famous. One particular instance was I was doing like this scary game first impression for Halloween. It was like 2 years ago, and the audio cut out like halfway through, so I had to redub it. Actually, no, I didn't even choose to redub it. I was like, screw it, no. I just put I put like a text in, and I was like, there's no commentary from this point forward. And of course, that's super lazy. You know, if someone's like, I'm gonna stop talking. I really like, I really like this scene. I'm not gonna like try to reread it because I don't think I could recapture the silliness of it. But as you can see, Wayne, who we met in I think the previous video, in part 2 or part 1, I can't remember quite which one it was. I think it might have been part 1. But of course, Wayne is a very attractive young male, as you can see that the game plays it up with the little sparkly roses in the background. And the women of all ages, it seems, are really digging him. And I love this scene because it's just some of the commentary that Frank says, as you can see right here. Oh, you've got a funny look on your face. I guess I will reread it. Oh, that'd explain it. They're probably fans who came all this way just to see Loverboy over there. This happens every so often. He's crazy popular with the ladies. I can get why though. He's handsome and has this refreshing aura about him. But most of all, he can talk the talk better than anyone else out there. It's no wonder the regulars at the post office are almost all women. Damn, Wayne. I wish I was like Wayne. Now, if he were some kind of jerk, I'm sure some folks would be resentful, but he's a good guy through and through, and that's on top of being smart and a hard worker. Heck, if he were a lady, I'd be looking to make him my wife myself. See, the scene, the Harvest Moon games, I'm not sure if they would be particularly known for their humor, but they are humorous. Alright, their characters say funny things, situations are hilarious. Don't particularly remember much of it from A Wonderful Life. I don't know why, although I have an inkling, but my memories of A Wonderful Life are very melancholic. They're very melancholic, and I think it's because, like, I could barely keep myself, like, I could barely make any money. I think it was because the game was a little bit more difficult than some of the later Harvest Moon games. Like you could fight me on that. I feel like, I'm pretty sure that A Wonderful Life, Harvest Moon A Wonderful Life, is more difficult than any of the later ones, especially like Magical Melody onwards. Like, maybe one day I'll go back and I'll test that out, but my memory, my recollection was like barely having money, barely being able to like grow any kind of crops. Like, you remember all the crops I was growing in Story Seasons? Oh, that didn't happen in A Wonderful Life for me. Like, I barely had anything, and my animals, they died. I lost cows, chickens. It was horrid. It was very horrible. And I'm like 5, 7. Oh, I might have been 10. And I'm playing this game, and I'm just like, I'm bawling my eyes out because my cow died. It was, like I said, it was very melancholic. That might just be like, you know, nostalgia. I don't even know if that would be called nostalgia. That might be like me misremembering the game, but like, A Wonderful Life is a very different Harvest Moon game than any of the ones that I played afterwards. So yeah, so I don't remember it quite well for its humor, but more for its drama. Because like, I remember there was like this old man that lived near where I was, my farm was, and I'm pretty sure he like eventually he dies, and it's like, oh, it got me right there in the heart. And of course, this character, not to spoil anything, I won't say who dies, but somebody does die in Story Seasons, but it's sad. It is sad, but it didn't reach the same level of impact that, you know, Harvest Moon A Wonderful Life did. So yeah, here we got someone trying to propose to Wayne, and they have like a gigantic friggin' ring, as all the items are pretty huge in this in the game. It's like, hey, I'm gonna hold up this gigantic ring. So yeah, he got this kind of like this chick that he's never met before, as you can see right here. I'm real flattered and all, but do we know each other? I don't often forget the faces of my customers. Oh, you kid her. I talk to you every day. In my head. I think I called her a tsundere or something. I don't think that actually that might actually be it. I think a tsundere would be more like that. God, what was her name? Pink hair chick from, what was it? Something Time Diaries? It wasn't Time Diaries. I know it was the Japanese title was Mirai Nikki or something like that. One of the few anime that I've watched in like the past 5 years. But anyways, I think that would be more of a tsundere. I don't know what this one was called. Oh wait, no, not tsundere. Yandere. Well, that was one mistake I made in the previous video, in my previous recording of the video. I called her a tsundere. No, that's what I was thinking of was a yandere. Anyways, in this scene, I decided to go and defend him, and I guess I was commentating about that for a while because this, the screen's been stuck there for a bit. Who are you? Where'd you come from? Girl, get away from Wayne. He ain't about you. Shut up, you. I'm in the middle of a very important conversation, so scram. Oh, heck no. You did not just tell me to scram. I'm sorry, miss. Mysterious women are certainly attracted to me, but I'm afraid I can't be your husband. I mean, I don't even know your name. I don't think does she say her name? No, she doesn't. But don't fret. Our relationship's only just begun. Next time you see me, I want you to talk to me directly. Instead of just watching from afar. Wayne is a smooth criminal. He's certainly smooth. I won't deny him that. And to think that he is just a mailman or a postman, I guess, whatever you would call it. So that's pretty hilarious that he's so smooth. Wayne's certainly up there in one of my favorite characters so far. Like, there's been some cool characters. So Frank's great with his whole like, man, if Wayne was a woman, I'd marry him. Frank's delightful, and of course our family's pretty cool so far. But Wayne, I don't know. Typically, I don't like that type of character. The ones like, hey, I'm a smooth lady killer. Don't typically like the characters, depending on how they're written. But Wayne's like a really good dude. Like, he's obviously smooth, obviously knows how to talk to women and get them off his back. But he's a nice fellow. He's a good person. He's not crude. He's not lewd. He's not a jerk, is essentially what I'm saying. So I like Wayne, and I'm looking forward to getting to know more about Wayne. Like, if you could have a homosexual relationship in this game, I would probably go for Wayne in like a third playthrough or something, just because Wayne, like, not even because I'm like, wow, he's hot. No, just because, like, that's a nice guy. All right, ladies, like, you find yourself a Wayne. All right, you find yourself a Wayne, and you'll be set. You'll be set. I don't have any reason to give love advice because I can't take it, and I'm bad at love myself. But do with what I said. What am I trying to say? Do what you will with what I said. There you go. No wonder I stumbled all over that. That's a tongue twister. Tongue twister is a tongue twister itself, really, if you think about it. Yeah, I hate redubbed footage. Sometimes I can just go on and on. Every time, I probably said this before, and now I'm just like repeating myself, but whenever I redub footage, I just talk about whatever. I sometimes don't really talk about the game. I decide to just talk about whatever because there's no point in me being like, let me react to the things in the game. And I mean, I've reacted to a few things like what happened here. A bird drops from the sky like a character from Morrowind, and I'm just like, what? So I picked the eagle up, played with it a little bit, and then I talked to Hannah, and she's about to become a cat lady. It's kind of hard to tell who's young and who just has like gray hair, because like I'm used to like some anime characters having freaking weird colors. I'm like, are you an old lady or are you just a chick with silver hair? I don't know. Let's see. Well, we got like two more minutes to kill. 2 more minutes, and another reason I hate redubbing footage is because there's a time constraint. Because when I'm recording something, I can just talk your ears off. But when I'm redubbing something, I can't just talk your ears off. I have to make sure I don't go over the remaining minutes. Otherwise, you'll just hear me talking over a black screen. So I can't do that. Anyways, I really do regret not delivering the best video here, guys. We're like 3 freaking videos into this Let's Play, and I'm like, already presenting to you guys a very jaded redub of some footage that I forgot to include commentary with. And I apologize for that. But, you know, better now, I guess, than later? I don't know if that's true. I probably would prefer it to be later, just so that you guys are a little bit more used to my sense of humor, sense of commentary. But I do want to thank you, any newcomers who've shown up. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to be like, I'm gonna watch that guy play this game, and not just either A, watch somebody else play it, or B, play the games yourself and wait. I feel like Stories of Seasons is a game where you can kind of like watch somebody else play and then you play at the same time. I'm fine with that. Like if you're like, I want to play a few days ahead of where Archaic King is, that's fine. That's fine, man. I mean, I only progress one video at a day, per day, so it's not like you guys have to worry about being super spoiled by anything. Well, I guess it's time to start wrapping things up. In the previous recording of this, I wanted you guys to tweet me things that you are experiencing in the game, like what's your character look like, what did you name them, things like that, because I really do want to see what you guys are doing on your own files. Just don't spoil anything for me. I mean, I know this is Story Seasons, but still, I'd rather have some mystery left for me to explore. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry about having to redub the footage. Hopefully that won't happen again. Yeah, and if you liked the video, make sure to leave a like or a comment, and I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow for more Story Seasons Trio of Towns. Again, thank you guys for watching. Take care.